All right, gang. So Dave was just live on Coffee Pods and Wads. Let's listen to what he had to say.
Yeah, that's cool. If someone was to look at someone who's a lot smarter than me was to look at the Open, would they get clues for quarterfinals or no?
What was the question?
If
Your
someone
accent
smart,
sometimes is.
sorry, I'm sorry. If someone smarter than me was to look at the Open, would they get clues for quarterfinals, or is that just a fool's errand?
No, you should look. You should dive in. You should try to definitely pursue that. Someone should dive into it and see what clues they could pull out of it.
Okay.
Well, let's go ahead and dig in. This could be some good content too for a little quarterfinals prediction show over on the CF network. But for now, just threw some stuff in to get a jumping off point in the last like 5 minutes. So if we kind of look at the open workouts and what they included movement quality wise, there was a squat. We did a medium height jump to a 20 and 24-inch box. We did a weighted single leg implement, although it was very light as well. There was a hip extension movement. That's something that you can kind of see how many they've done or haven't done when you're looking at the programming. And there was a press to throwing overhead at a relatively light weight. So the linchpin, the bottleneck for the elites was kind of like a top end capacity and leg endurance, although some of them cited that they felt their shoulders more. So just a muscular endurance, top end capacity and speed. How fast can they move with a lot of wall balls? So then 26.2, we had a single leg lunge. We had a hinge and the dumbbell snatch. We supported the dumbbell overhead. We were hanging overhead along with upper body pulling. We also had a press to support with overhead hanging on that gymnastics there. So this workout, again, we're kind of thinking that the programming of quarterfinals is considering the top quarter of athletes and then also trying to qualify folks to semifinals. So we're not talking about our general affiliate athlete who's going to say this workout's linchpin was getting one ring muscle up. For these guys, it was, capacity, like extreme gymnastics, fatigue capacity. How do you perform those ring muscle ups with tons of interference and fatigue? So fatigued ring gymnastics test basically is what we saw for the elites. And then 26.3, we saw a press off the floor, a jump to a very low standard, a burpee. We saw hinging with a power clean. We squatted with a thruster, and we had a press to overhead with also a hip extension in a couple of the movements as well. So what we saw here was we were just looking at engine capacity and just that top end capacity again. I don't know that it was more legs or shoulders for athletes. We had a press off the floor and a press to overhead. We were hinging that barbell and also doing a burpee. So those top end athletes were probably feeling a little bit everywhere. So it was, again, top end capacity, but a little bit less maybe muscle endurance and just that straight up aerobic capacity test. And obviously time domain wise, we saw our short, our medium, and our long-ish, I guess. It's just an open test though, so like it's not that long. So for the elites, we hit our time domains. The last 2 years, people will debate, did we hit these time domains? And if you look in 24 and 25 for the elites time caps and their finishing times, they did kind of hit something sub 8 for a short, something in the 10 to 12 or 9 to 12 for the medium, and something that went, Colton got 13:45, but let's say for most of them 15 above or 14 and a half and above. So that longer edge of moderate up to longer, like the 20-minute AMRAP with the deadlift row and double unders that we did. So that would be what we've covered thus far. So quarterfinals so far, we can look at what they did in the 2024 quarterfinals, because I think that was a phenomenal test. 4 really great workouts that really did a good job of testing everything we want to see. So there was a strength capacity test in that cleaner jerk ladder. There was a skill fatigue test with that toe to bar rope climb, ring muscle up with all the handstand skills. There was the engine test, the wall ball burpee box jump over one, and then the interval test with the double dumbbell step up, the row, and the power snatch. So that framework was really great. Boz programmed that year, I believe, and I'm assuming he's programming this year as well based on everything that Dave has said and we've heard. So I would say that maybe we get a snatch ladder this year for that capacity test, maybe something else mixed in, not just a true 4 barbell weights like we saw, but it could just be a snatch version of that workout. I think could be an awesome just wrinkle and evolution. The skills fatigue test, we didn't see bar muscle ups, wall walk, handstand walk, so you could absolutely roll those into our fatigue skills test here. The engine test, I think the rower would be perfect if we're going to get that longer 20-minute time domain, 18-minute time domain, 25-minute time domain hit in quarters. You know, rower is a fabulous, potent piece of equipment. And then an interval test, it's kind of like anything goes. As far as other movements or things that we haven't seen, heavy dumbbells or double dumbbells generally show up in the quarters, double unders, possibly a deadlift, because we've hinged relatively light thus far, but not something that's a little bit heavier, more serious. And then obviously there's a lot of other little pieces there. There's always the GHD if it's back. There's always the rope climb if it's back as well, but we just don't know how much in quarterfinals they're catering to the affiliates versus wanting to challenge the elites there. So a lot of different things we can speculate. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. This was just my first, like, you know, quick throw it at the wall and see what sticks thoughts. Let me know what else I should add, where we can start to piece some stuff in, and maybe we'll get a little bit more into this with some of the guys on the CF network.